Welcome to the Sleep Charming podcast, the podcast where I help you drift off for a good night's sleep or simply take a moment to relax. So sit back, take a deep breath, and let me read you an old story. You are strolling along a narrow gravel road. The road is encapsulated with trees that seem to reach miles into the sky. The air around you is dry and temperate. Sunlight filters through the branches above you in tiny golden rays. The fluttering of birds surrounds you, and the distinct sound of singing bugs cuts through the ambience. The road you walk is a familiar road. You've walked it countless times before, and you will walk it countless times again. This is the road to your home. You take a walk every morning to clear your head. The nature that surrounds your home has always been a soothing presence. You close your eyes as you traverse the path. You listen to how the gravel crunches beneath your shoes, how the leaves rustle from the gentlest disturbance. There's something grounding about it all. Eventually, the trees start to disperse. You come across a small clearing. Before you is an enormous, crystal clear lake, set against the backdrop of rolling mountains. The water is as still as a sheet of glass. You can see right down to the bottom. The floor of the lake is covered in smooth, multicolored rocks. Schools of freshwater fish scour the floor and keep the rocks clean of algae. The sky is a deep blue, with a smattering of white, fluffy clouds today. They almost look like someone decorated the sky with fresh cotton balls. About 50 feet from the edge of the water is a small log cabin. The front door and shingles are painted matching sets of forest green. A set of wind chimes, crafted from sea glass, hangs on the porch. In various spots on the front yard, you've placed birdhouses and feeders. A dock juts out from the land, completed with a set of metal stairs that descend into the water. Tied to the railing of the dock is a bright red kayak. It rocks gently as the wind blows. You go inside the cabin. The walls are adorned with pictures of your loved ones, friends, family members, and various pets you've had over the years. On the wall next to the front door is your favorite piece, a pop art painting of your childhood dog in bright jewel tones. Underneath your feet is a blue and white rug that you crocheted a few years ago. It had started as a project during a snowstorm, and you had ended sticking with it long after the snow had melted. You walk to the center of the room. The most eye-catching thing in there, you would argue, is the stone hearth that reaches up to the ceiling. It is the only part of the cabin that has been remodeled, and for good reason. Its old architectural style seems to tell the stories of generations gone by. You kneel in front of it and carefully stack 3 slabs of wood in a pyramid shape, then crumble up an old newspaper and place it under the wood. It feels chilly enough to go outside to get a fire started. Maybe you'd even put on a pot of tea. You hear the wind chimes' delicate tune ringing from outside, and then a different but familiar noise. While you wait for the fire to kick up, you step back onto the porch and scan the lake, A pair of common loons glide across the surface of the water. The female has lost her black and white feathers and has returned to a more subtle brown, an implication that it's not mating season. You smile to yourself as they paddle along together. Even in the off months, these birds are still closely bonded. One of them calls its haunting, beautiful call. The sound echoes across the lake and carries through the air. Best not to bother them, you think to yourself as you head back inside. The fire is just now catching on the main logs. Perfect. You pace into the kitchen and take down your metal teapot, fill it with water, and set it over the fire to boil. You decide that tea will be lovely today. You pull up an old rocking chair made from pine wood and sit down, holding your hands in front of the hearth to warm them. Once warm, you shift a large plush pillow behind you to support your lower back. Satisfied, you lean back and close your eyes. You listen to the water lapping against the lake shore, the birds chirping to each other, the chipmunks that scurry across the roof. Something about where you are right now is so peaceful. You breathe in and out. You are exactly where you're meant to be. The sharp noise of the whistling teapot brings you back. As you remove the pot from the fire, something by the window catches your eye. You set the pot down in the kitchen and turn to investigate. You gasp, though you can't tell from shock or amazement, as you lock your eyes with an adolescent moose. It presses its nose to the window and brays. You stay in the kitchen and watch it from a respectful distance. You breathlessly reach for your phone and take a picture of the young calf. What a wonderful moment to add to your wall. The moose is polite enough to stand by the window long enough for you to take a picture before it ambles back into the woods. You wonder for a moment what it would be like to befriend a moose. You have always been partial to stories about unlikely friendships with animals. You begin to craft a narrative in your head. Maybe the moose was out by the window to share long-forgotten knowledge with you. Or maybe it would reveal that you have the ability to speak with animals, and there is a magical quest waiting for you. You chuckle to yourself. If an animal ever does reveal something mystical about you, you hope it will at least go about it with a bit more pomp and circumstance. You turn back to the teapot and pour the boiling water into your favorite mug, then make your way to the pantry. You rifle through your tea collection, so many choices, and finally decide on a particularly pleasant oolong tea. You place the tea bag in your mug and watch it sink to the bottom before putting your mug on the counter to steep. There needs to be music, you decide. You make your way to the living room. In the corner is an antique record player that your grandfather passed down to you. A warm feeling fills your chest as you remember spending time with him in your childhood. He would always take you out for ice cream after school on Fridays. You allow yourself to close your eyes and reminisce. You can almost taste the scoop of Rocky Road on your tongue. Maybe someday soon, you'll take a trip down to the local ice cream shop in his honor. As the tea finishes steeping, you stir in a healthy amount of honey and retreat with your mug to the rocking chair. Before you sit down, you crouch in front of your bookcase and run your fingers over the spines of a collection of books. You decide to read this afternoon to let your mind escape. It's a fun challenge trying to pick a genre: mystery, romance, comedy. Eventually, your fingertip lands on a fantasy novel. It's a fairly new book, unlike the others. Its spine is crisp and not yet broken in. It has that new book smell that you love so much. Content, you sit down in the rocking chair and open up the book. There is a beautifully illustrated map before the chapter index. You take time to admire the artistry before flipping to the first page. You allow yourself to get lost in the story. The author has woven an intricate story, and you are able to visualize everything perfectly. You pour yourself into the book, turning page after page until you are at least several chapters in. You read long enough for your tea to go cold. That's okay though. You don't mind when your warm beverages cool off. It makes it easier to enjoy the flavor without the risk of burning your mouth. Besides, the burning fire in the hearth keeps you plenty warm and cozy. After a long while of reading, you feel your eyes grow heavy. You stretch your arms and stand up, extinguishing the fire. The smoke dances in mesmerizing swirls, like a misty bout of fireworks. The sun is beginning to set now. As you look out the window, you can tell that it's noticeably darker than when you first sat down with your book. You pull on a fuzzy bathrobe over your shoulders and step onto your porch one last time to gaze at the water. The lake is painted with incredible hues of pink and orange and violet as the sun begins to set. These vibrant colors reflect off the clouds in the sky, offering you a sight more majestic than the paintings of the old. You let yourself embrace the scenery. Nothing makes you feel more alive than just taking the time to slow down and appreciate the world around you. The cold air begins to nip at your ears and face. Your breath evaporates into the air like a tiny little cloud of your own. You tuck back into the cabin and open your bedroom door. The bedroom is, perhaps, the most comfortable room in your tiny cabin. The bed is made up with a mountain of pillows, a plush, fluffy comforter, and a thick quilt you made with your aunt. The quilt, made lovingly with different patterns of fabric that make you feel happy, has a little cartoon cat sewn onto the back corner. This started as an inside joke from your aunt. Her big orange cat, Juniper, always likes to nap on her quilts that she hasn't finished yet. She started sewing cartoon cats onto all of her finished quilts, and in time, it turned into a signature of sorts. Every once in a while, you leave your quilt upside down on your bed just to see the cat in case you need a smile. You hang up your robe and change into a set of silken pajamas. They feel smooth and delicate against your skin. Your tiredness catches up to you as you fail to stifle a big yawn. Before you tuck yourself into bed, you set up a no-burn lavender incense. Lavender is your favorite scent, and you find it helps you have pleasant dreams. In no time, the room is filled with a subtle aroma, and you find yourself even more comfortable. Finally, you pull back your sheets and climb into bed. You've made your bed with flannel sheets, as it's finally cold enough to truly appreciate them. They are soft and velvety as you pull the sheets up above your neck. You are enveloped in warmth against the backdrop of the cold night, and you feel sleep grasping at you. You close your eyes and breathe deeply, in and out, in and out, in and out. Your breathing begins to slow, and your consciousness slowly drifts away as sleep finally takes hold. Your comfortable bed, relaxing day, and sense of calm sends you into a deep sleep. You dream of your favorite things. You are dancing on the surface of the lake, twirling and twirling to your heart's content. The moose you saw earlier today pokes its head out of the woods, brays at you, and continues on its way. You laugh, filled with a sense of whimsy. You know that no matter what, you will be okay when you wake up. You are safe and content and loved. With that in mind, you continue to dance. The worries of the world cannot reach you here. Despite everything, you are filled with joy.